And we're on. Welcome to Mind Body Evolution on video once again. This is so exciting, folks.
Yep.
Dr. Josh Stout.
Hey everyone, this is so much fun. Again, I'm going into this lost civilization that I think I have found, and I just want to run through a whole bunch of these artifacts that I do not possess, that are out there. They are now in the sort of greater world of collectors, but I want to point out how they're all part of this single coherent group of artifacts.
What you're talking about is that these are the objects that you did not get, that were on the website of the auction house.
Right, but I collected all the photos,
and these are the context.
These are the context. So again, these were not sold as Sumerian artifacts or Syrian artifacts or anything like that. These were sold as many different things, everything from Roman to Chinese.
And the point is that you, seeing them on this site, recognized, wait a second, these are not from all over the place.
These are not from all over the place. These are a coherent group. So I just wanted to start off, showing what some of these look like and why I think they're all connected.
Ready
all right.
to go?
Here we go.
All right. You're on.
Okay. So, this is a Lamassu with a, flat human face. We talked about, how Lamassus are the, animal, human hybrids. It's in that Sphinx position that, is not common in, Sumerian work, but it's definitely a Sumerian influenced, artifact. And I just wanted to show how many of these were bulls. So here you can see the Sphinx position. You can see the ram's horn and the human face there. And you can see how this is actually an offering bowl. So many of these artifacts were clearly part of offerings in temples. All right, I'm just going to keep running on through. Go. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so here is one that it was just itself a bowl, but again, the same idea. You see the fat cheeks, you see the inset eyes, forward-facing nose. So this is the half animal, half human face.
So these fat cheeks are one of the things that you're seeing across the board in every single one of the.
It's a Sumerian characteristic that you see in a lot of artifacts in general, and I'm seeing it almost all of these at this site.
All right, moving on.
But also the. Look at this goat head there with the inset eyes, the fat cheeks, human face, forward pointing nose, so not quite human, and the ear that something could have been put into, horns going back. Also, this really interesting pattern where you have the incising on the side. That was part of the style that people were using. You can see the age here. Again, if these are fakes, someone purposely broke it. And then the holes at the back. I don't understand these exactly. If you put your finger over it, you could start it pouring or stop it pouring. I think that dark residue there is actual residue from the substance that was held in this bowl. And the notch above it. At first, I was thinking these might be carving errors, but the notch above the hole seems to be something that's repeated again and again. I have no idea why.
Not an error. You see it in every single one.
Well, I see it in several of them, not every single one. But this is, again, a characteristic. I don't know what it's for, but it's something that I can see it's in common with these pieces. All right, so moving on. Again, this is the bowl looking down. And here we have the next offering bowl. So again, we have two goat's heads with somewhat humanoid faces. These ones, the eyes are much bigger, but we can see the horns forming the rim of the bowl. And again, the whole thing is itself an offering bowl.
Do we see offering bowls like across cultures? Is this
that's a very common thing to have offering bowls in a temple
used in a religious.
Yeah, and we obviously don't know exactly what the rituals are, but there are accounts of rituals where people have bowls of offerings, and we can see it depicted in some of the.
So this is a common thing that we could compare to other civilizations and say these have things that set them apart and make them different.
Yeah, so I'm just talking about this. This is a group of offering bowls. It's not the offering bowls that lets me know I'm looking at a new civilization. It's that they have these particular sets of characteristics. They have the fat cheeks, but they also combine Egyptian Sphinx.
What I was getting at is that it is an object that we can see across cultures and civilizations, but you can mark that this one is unique to or
this group
from a different group,
and they're also made out of the same materials. Here, let's keep going.
Yep.
So these are alabaster. They appear to have similar kinds of age to them, the same kind of staining. And they're depicting the same animals. They're depicting these wild goats. the Ibex, and you can see the same kind of residues in them. Often a lot of bitumen, these dark residues. That greenish is interesting. That might well have been a surface algae out on the where sunlight was actually hitting it, either before or after it was collected. Here we go, another offering bowl, and you can see right away, you can see that hole with a notch above it.
Yeah, it's very clear in that one.
No idea why it is. You can see that same goat head with the inset eyes, the big puffy cheeks, forward pointing nose. Notice the back legs. There are these stylized back legs that also occur on all of these. They have that particular shape. I don't know what that little circle is. Is that another eye, or is that representing the joint of the back leg? Hard for me to see. Here we have one of the few offering bowls where it's not kneeling in a Sphinx manner. So this is actually, that one that I was just showing is actually much more typical Sumerian version. It's showing a fathead sheep, but again, it's the same kind of things. They're showing goats, they're showing sheep. They're using alabaster as their medium.
Fat cheeks,
and they still have the same kind of stuff. Yeah. So even if they don't fit exactly every single one exactly the same, you're seeing very similar things that
and
connect
these are
them.
things that also set these objects apart from similar objects.
Yeah. And I wanted to show this one because it's got a nice personality. You can see it's very clearly a well-made offering bowl. And the fat tail, this fat tail on the sheep is something that is throughout the Middle East today. These are an ancient breed of sheep that have tails that really just do look like that, the fat tails.
Okay.
So it lets you know that you're definitely looking at a Mesopotamian area, but it could be really anywhere.
That's interesting.
Anywhere from Persia to say Jordan.
All right.
Iran, obviously. All right, continuing on. Oh, right. So we are now done with the offering bowls, and we've got into the Lamassu. I'm going to do the next one as a section of Lamassu. So
let's just stop for a brief moment. So you just went through all your offering bowls that bring this all together for you, and now we're moving into a different group.
Right. So the Lamassu are a group of apotropaic images. So they turn away evil. They are good luck.
Oh, I like that.
And so many of the offering bowls were themselves Lamassu.
Sorry, that's a new word to me. Apotropaic.
Right. So tropisms are turns. Mm-hmm. Like a trope is a turn of phrase, mm-hmm. and apo means away from. So apotropaic images or depictions or amulets turn away evil. They're good luck. And so the offering bowls combined Lamassu with an offering, so it's a perfect thing in a temple. It's sacred. It's giving the offering, and at the same time, it's protecting the temple. It's turning away evil. No demons can be involved in this, and demons were definitely an active force in these mm-hmm. cultures because it's been protected by the Lamassu itself. So the evil has been turned away. The offering is being given in the temple, and in many cases, there was the idea that the carving would represent perhaps the giver of the offering. And so the carving would sit there with its happy fat cheeks and its big eyes looking at perhaps this larger image. And that's another thing I want to think about is I only have these little tiny pieces, and the ones that made it to this auction were little tiny pieces. Very often when there's a whole collection like this, there would have been monumental statues they're associated with.
You mentioned this before. So you were saying that the smaller figures might have been placed in a position of constant devotion to the larger figures.
To the larger figures. And I have not personally excavated anything, so I have not seen this, but I have read about it in the texts. I haven't seen great pictures of this happening, but I've read about it that it does happen.
So you make these objects and they carry out the devotion.
They carry out the devotion. So, but in this context, they would be doing it magically. They would be protecting it, carrying it out for you, and giving it in the bowl. Exactly.
How could a stone object be devoting? It's
exactly.
It's magic.
So but it's magic in sort of several different directions at the same time. Protective, and it's you, and it's the offering.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things are happening at the same time.
So this was the offering Lamassu.
Exactly. So
now you're moving on.
So I was moving on. I just wanted to mention that we don't have the monumental statues.
Right.
So those are probably sitting in a palace or someone's someone's giant house somewhere illegally. The market for these things disappeared in the early 2000s when Christie's and Sotheby's stopped selling them, which was good, right? They refused to sell anything without a provenance because there was so much looting after the Iran-Iraq war and after the Iraq-US war.
Because literally, they were not selling things without a provenance. If they didn't,
they started then. They should have probably started a little earlier, but that's when they started. And the bottom went out of the market. And so none of these pieces are being sold really legally through, Western style markets. But they're going somewhere. People are still looting them. The examples I'm showing,
people are looting them, and also people are buying them. Like all of these,
someone's got to be. So
these are showing today, they're sold.
Someone
owns them.
These were all sold, but these were essentially laundered through something that normally sells fakes, and then they are incorrectly labeled. So they got pennies on the dollar for them. But the big pieces, the monumental statues, were probably sold privately to large names, and they were collected. Don't know where, but my guess would be somewhere in the region. So,
but my point was that people are actually interested in these things. People are buying them, even if they're mislabeled and we don't know where they're from.
Well, because these are beautiful statues and they seem to have maybe some age to them. Mm-hmm. So, it's worth collecting for the same reasons I did. I wanted to buy something that, looked like it had some soul to it, looked like someone had put some thought into it. And that's what I look for when I'm collecting. I don't know if it's necessarily old, but I see that there's some life to it.
Yeah, if it's legitimately a fake, it's a good one.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I'm looking for, because I'm not setting out to loot artifacts, right? I'm setting out to buy things that touch me personally, and I'm looking for things where, whatever it is, if it's modern or if it's older, someone put some real thought into it, and that's what I want to bring into my house. I want to bring a connection to the carver, to the culture, to the people that were making something. And in this case, yeah, I started panicking because I realized the connection was to people maybe 4,000, maybe 6,000 years ago. And
well, you don't mean panic. You mean you started getting excited.
Excited, but also worried that these things were all going to be lost if I didn't start recording it, right. Which is why I'm showing you these things right now.
Right.
All of those things I just showed you were not things I bought, but part of this larger collection that I think I've discovered. And my panic was, oh my God, these things are lost forever unless I get this photo right now. Many of these photos are no longer online. You would not be able to find them. And if it weren't for what I just showed, they are lost. And so that's what I mean by panic. I hate the idea of a whole civilization coming and going without us even knowing. It's like when you chop down the rainforest and there's species that go extinct before we've ever discovered them. This is a civilization that could have been lost before we ever found it.
All right. Well, let's move forward. Let's keep taking a look at this stuff.
All right. So now I want to just show collections of Lamassu. So here you can see some of the same characteristic. This is a slightly more humanoid Lamassu.
Love this.
But you can see its face is slightly protuberant. You can see it sticking out a little bit there. But the nose is pointing down. It's much more human than some of them. Those things that look like goggles on top, those are ram's horns. And you can see below the ram's horn is a crown. You can see the wings coming up. So this is a flying Lamassu. It's in the Sphinx position. It probably had lion claws. You can see the wings a little bit better here. Sometimes there were two pairs of wings, sometimes with a single pair of wings. They have different characteristics. I like the little dots at the ends of the wings there, almost like the way a butterfly wing would be. And several of these comes in sets of 4, not the way an eagle would have 2 wings, but the way a butterfly would have 4. And I do wonder about that.
Yeah.
I want to keep moving forward.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the beard, you can see the crown, and you can see the lion stance. And then looking down, this one is not an offering bowl, but again, you can see remnants. So it seems like some of these things were anointed with some sort of oil that dried into this black residue. And you can see the nice inset eyes and the beard there. The holes in the beard are characteristic of some Syrian statues that I've seen. The city of Mari is known for beards made with drilled holes like that.
And the object that you showed the first time around, the seated king, has holes in the beard too.
Yeah, exactly.
In the clothing.
Yeah, and they have a Syrian feel to me. I don't know if this is from Syria, but it's connected to some known artifacts that are drilled in that particular way to form the beard.
That is a known style.
A somewhat known style.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pin anything down. All right, want to keep moving on. here we go. Here's another Lamassu. This one's interesting because instead of being a combination of a human and a lion, a human and a goat, this is a human and a lion with a mane. So the hair coming down is a human type hair, but it's forming a lion's mane, and instead of horns, you have this crown on top. And so you can see there's the crown. Those are not horns. Those would be jewels or something with a mane below it. And you can see a fairly human face with the fat cheeks. And then the whole thing is in this Sphinx position with the clawed feet in front. See if you can see the clawed feet. There we can see the clawed feet. And you can see fat, happy cheeks again. But this one being almost entirely lion. So much more close to an actual Egyptian Sphinx, where you have a human face on something that's entirely lion.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing, moving on. From that, you can see the back end. The back end actually looks a bit like some of the sheep rear ends. So there might be some sheep influence there. Whoops. And we've gone too far. All right. So now we are through the Lamassu.
Okay.
So this again is another collection showing the same set of the same kinds of things. These are.
You mean this next group that you're showing?
No, what I was just showing.
Okay.
So I've been showing these apotropaic offerings that would have been in the temple, given to the god. The god was whatever god was in that temple. That could have been in usually a single temple to a single god, and usually a set of single kinds of offerings to a single god. So we might be looking at looted multiple temples from the same city, because there's definitely things in common to them. But for example, the lion might have been in a different temple from the bull, which might have been in a different temple from the sheep, which might have been in a different temple from the goats.
Right.
But sometimes they're all combined into the same thing. And that could be maybe the king of the gods was combining all of these together, or it could have been Inanna, the queen of the gods. Many of these things have multiple attributes. So I'm not saying definitively if this was multiple sites or a single site. I'm just saying definitively this was one civilization
that they embody a context.
They embody a context, and these artifacts represent this larger context. And we see Lamassu made into offering bowls, Lamassu as Lamassu, where you see all the characteristics, the human face, the animal form, often combined with the lion, usually the powerful animals. You have a combination of powerful domesticated animals, goats, bulls, and sheep, not little tiny weak sheep. These are powerful, big sheep with big horns. And the same with the goats. These are not little tiny goats. These are the wild mountain goats that represent the mountains themselves. They represent the spirit of nature. They're the name for these things in current Arabic literally means like the village wild goats, essentially. These are the things that are not in the city. These are not the red ones.
You were saying that the Lamassu is the nature spirit, is the essence of the nature.
The Anzu is the
Anzu
the nature spirit. The Lamassu is much more this idea of the protective deity. So it combines the images of the king, perhaps, with the images of the god into one thing, with the images of these powerful animals. And then often with the addition of wings. So they have flight. So they're not supposed to be representing real animals. These are representing spiritual things. Anytime you have flight, you're going up into heaven. You're connecting, heaven and earth together. One of the bulls I was showing earlier, I think had winged feet. I didn't make much of it because it's really hard to tell exactly. But if you look very, very closely, it looked like they had wings on their feet. Not a Sumerian characteristic. They don't tend to put wings on their animals' feet. But this would be one sort of going in the same context. Many of the wings are on the back. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4 wings. And then there was one bull that I had that had wings on its feet. So it would be flying up the way, Hermes would with wings on his ankles.
Do you want to move on to the wing section, or should we save that for another episode?
We can save that for another episode. I think, the two things I did just now connected by the Lamassu, and we have the Lamassu as offering bowl, and Lamassu as Lamassu. But they're all the same. They're all made of roughly all the same kind of stuff, the same kind of alabaster, similar sites, similar sizes. Like they were all trying for one particular kind of thing.
Yeah, they clearly were. These were meant to be held in your hand
and with a real similar kind of context to them. They all appear to be something that was put into a temple, and that's a very common thing in Sumerian culture. That's like a thing that we know they did, and they made lots and lots of these offerings in the temple.
And you're convincing me, because these all have great similarities.
They really do.
And they're all labeled from being all over the world. So
they're labeled from all over the world.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So they weren't trying to get top dollar by selling looted artifacts. They were trying to just make any money from stuff that couldn't otherwise be sold, because reputable auction houses have started requiring a provenance. And so I think they were basically fencing these things instead of selling them into the art market.
We're going to move on to see what? What do we see?
The next one, I want to show some. I want to show the Anzu pendants again. These are again protective apotropaic things, but often worn around the neck. So these were personal amulets.
Oh, so now we're moving from devotional objects that were found in a place of worship to things that people had on them.
And could have also themselves been offerings, but they were definitely wearable. They're pierced. They could be worn on the neck.
I cannot wait. All right.
Excellent.
Until next time, let's say goodbye to everyone over there.
Goodbye.
Thanks, folks. Thanks so much. Tune in next time, mindbodyevolution.info. Thanks so much.